But first, the GE temper tantrum. That's right. He promised that he would ship American jobs out of this country. In fact, here's the quote. Good GE jobs in the United States will be moved to Canada and Europe. That's a mighty high price to pay for ideological purity. That's Jeff Immelt, the CEO of General Electric. And of course, with the demise of the Export-Import Bank, we are watching and witnessing a major General Electric temper tantrum. That's right. Wave goodbye to those U.S. jobs because there's no more corporate welfare. And this week, Immelt was serious. He lived up to his promise already. 500 jobs shipped overseas. And I can tell you right now, these will not be the last. Listen, I think corporate welfare is a far larger issue than these flunky boards of directors because sooner or later, bad companies die. They go out of business. But billions of dollars used to subsidize the biggest companies in the world, in America, it is a sham. So does GE actions prove that we need to cut out all corporate welfare once and for all? Joining me now, Tammy Bruce, Fox News political contributor, Jillian Melcher, National Review reporter and Independent Women's Forum reporter, and Christopher Sace, Growth and Dividend Report editor. Tammy, I'll start with you. Listen, Boeing also made these sort of threats. I think it's embarrassing, the amount of money that they've gotten from these programs, and they don't really need it, in my opinion.
Well, look, you get used to it. They're freebies. Who wouldn't want free money being thrown at them? But they're part of the system. Immelt and GE, of course, very much a part of the Obama administration. Google's in the same situation.
He was the job czar.
Yes, he sure was. So, look, we also bailed out GE. Let's not forget that in 2009, over $100 billion. So there's an interest in this network. It's a team for them, and they want to do this. And make no mistake, this is politics. It's also not a coincidence, as this has come out the night of the GOP debate. So this is a message to the Republicans. You better do this or we're going to, and they don't mind. Obama doesn't mind and GE doesn't mind, apparently, killing jobs for 500 people to try to get their way politically in Washington.
Although, to this point, Chris, GE has killed a lot more jobs than this. They've shipped a whole lot of American jobs over, even while Jeff Immelt, again, I've got to reiterate this, he was our job czar. He was supposed to be creating jobs here while they were kicking them overseas.
Yeah, absolutely true. But, I mean, what is he trying to do? He's dismantling the company, trying to focus it on being an industrial player, and he's looking for low-cost manufacturing. But the point, Charles, is whether or not the Exim Bank should be around. Do we need it? If anything, GE is a world-class company that can compete on its own.
The Export-Import Bank was created a long time ago, and it morphed into this thing that, in my mind, is a corporate piggy bank. And
absolutely.
They promoted as, hey, we help small businesses, although
GE is a small business?
Yeah, exactly. 99.9% of the cash goes to anything but small businesses,
exactly.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And we've got to look, too, at all of the allegations of corruption that have come out under the last year, all of the allegations of fraud. This is a politically connected program. Politically connected people are getting the money. And there's this really interesting divide going right now within the Republican Party about, establishment cronyist politicians. And I think this is sort of the frustration that the American public feels, but also sort of the reckoning within the Republican Party. And we'll certainly see that reflected in tonight's debates.
I hope we see it in tonight's debates. I hope we see somehow it manifests itself at the ballot box. And, they have to be put up. We have to tell the American public what exactly is going on. General Electric, which, by the way, once boasted the largest market cap of any stock in the world when Immelt inherited the company. I mean, this guy's been a bad CEO in my mind anyway. Jack Welch made this into the greatest company in the world. He gave the baton to Immelt, and Immelt, he's scurrying around trying to get special favors.
Well, this is the irony, too, is that the Democrat arguments about Wall Street and hedge fund guys and evil banking men, when it's the Democratic Party that is most in bed with this kind of crony capitalism, this kind of money shared with corporations who then share in the governing of this country for their own benefit. And it's the same people who are doing this who are screaming about, the banks or hedge fund people or Wall Street. It's the height of irony.
All while they're sticking their hands out for more.
Well, exactly.
Right. These guys are huge, heavy. Obviously, they're really heavy lobbyists, and they spend a lot of money in Washington. And again, what I find really amazing is that you've got small businesses, which are truly the backbone of our country, and they can't get any sort of break. There's no kind of gigantic multi-billion-dollar piggy bank helping to or push them along. And that's just the craziness of it all, Jillian.
Yeah, I think they're over-regulated. They're certainly coming up with new inhibitions to growth with the new Obamacare regulations. But it's not just small businesses either. You've got, when we're subsidizing Boeing and they're sending airplanes over to United Arab Emirates or they're sending it to Turkish Airlines. Delta's complaining, hey, we're not getting a fair shake.
Right.
This is picking winners and losers,
dumb.
And they're huge losers.
Cato came out with a report also that these smaller companies in America that compete with these big companies were at a $2.8 billion disadvantage because of these subsidies. And I got to tell you, this is why we're always talking about this topic now. And I think to a large degree we can thank Trump, but it's been going on for a while. The revolt against career politicians and its incestuous relationship with big business and their cronies. Jeff Immelt, of course, he was in charge of President Obama's Job Council, but it's not just him and it's not just Democrats. A couple of months ago, it was John Boehner pleading with his own party, keep XM open. Now, you got to know this. In the second quarter of this year, Boeing spent $9.3 million, GE $8.5 million. What for? To lobby Washington, D.C. to keep these doors open of the XM Bank. By the way, why wouldn't they not do this? Let's face it, the subsidies, the billions of dollars in subsidies that they've gotten to the detriment of their rivals. I just mentioned that $2.8 billion number. And by the way, 99.9% of the recipients of XM loans or loan guarantees were not small businesses. So what can we do to get these small businesses in there to sort of break this incestuous relationship? Washington, big business guys. And by the way, it used to be Washington, big business, Wall Street. Now it's Washington, big business, Wall Street, and Silicon Valley. I mean, it is really, these guys are all in cahoots, and they all kind of split our money amongst themselves.
Well, and here's the thing also. Look, I want businesses to do well. I want them to make money. I want there to be more profits so more people can be hired so they can expand here at home. Right? There is nothing wrong or shameful about maybe making a cut or making a decision so that you can actually keep jobs here, build here, because it's this nation that bails them out. It's this nation that makes it all possible. It's this nation that runs the economy of the rest of the world. It is to this nation that they owe their existence. And there has to be some kind of a commitment to the country, not just patriotism, but it's good for business as well.
All of these small businesses, though, Chris, they, combined, they create every single month. We look at the data. They create far more jobs than the large businesses, but they don't have that united voice.
That's exactly
unifying
right.
voice.
There's no large lobbying organization for these guys to go to. They don't have the deep pockets that big companies, IBM, Boeing, and these other guys have. Google. So they are gonna, they're left drifting in the wind a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, these guys are drifting with the white flag, Yeah. I mean, I tip my hat to them. It's in the DNA of Americans, and I think it's one of the things that's barely kept us afloat over the last recovery period, if you will. But something has got to change. I'm not sure exactly who could lead that charge, but I think it's got to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think one of the great ironies that we're seeing right now during the campaign season, though, is that Donald Trump is the quintessential crony capitalist. We're talking about somebody who has spent heavily donating not only to Republicans but also to Democrats to get on every level of government to get what he wants.
But is it kind of good, though, that, maybe in the sort of vein of a Joseph Kennedy, who was one of the best stock swindlers guys out there, for lack of a better word, I'm sorry, to be the first chairman of the SEC, Donald Trump knows all of the games, and he's telling the American public, I'll share them with you and I'll stop them.
Yeah, he's showing his playbook, right? But exactly what he did. And he's going to turn around and he's going to say, this is what we got to stop doing this, close these loopholes, and get us going.
But part of his message, though, is that he's a winner. Yeah. And I think that he knows how to win. It's money is the issue for him. I don't see him really being a betrayer of his class, if you will. I think that there's going to be so much there that is tempting for him.
Well, he's talked about buying off politicians and all of these kind of things, and I think the American public believes he's going to be the guy.
He's a little too old to change
maybe he's the Trojan horse or something, but to his class, if you will.
Yeah.
But he's already told the American public in not so many different ways that, hey, I know how the game is played, and I'll change the game and make it better for everyone else.